Hi, test, 1, 2, 3, test. I seem to be having some issues with Chrome, but it's playing okay in Mozilla. I hope you can all hear me okay. Hi, test, 1, 2, 3, test. Yep, you can. Awesome. Let me just pop out the chat. So I will be starting in 2 minutes or so. Just getting ready with everything. Okay, so I am back, and I'm gonna start laying out the base colors. I'm gonna do something more rough than my usual style, trying out something new. So I am using Photoshop. It is a CS6. I think this program is over 15 years old, something like that. My Clip Studio Paint was being temperamental today, so I've gone back to Photoshop, which is still working with my tablet. So just making the face here, the base color for it. Hope you're having a good day. So the purposes of this live stream is to kind of raise awareness of what's going on in Ukraine. I am in Romania, so like right next door. So we know what's going on. We're getting refugees already. The total of them are almost 1 million. Poland has taken most of them because the languages are closer. Romanian and Hungarian are not Slavic languages. So that's why they've mostly gone that direction. So yeah, very sad. I went yesterday to drop off some medical supplies that we can get from pharmacy and shops and hygiene products and things like that. So and we talked with the volunteers where we dropped off the stuff, and it's gonna get worse. So far the better off Ukrainians have been able to flee, you know, the ones that can afford a car and a train ticket and to go abroad, that have acquaintances abroad. But now the rest of them are going to have to go somewhere as well, so it's just getting worse and worse. So anything that we can send their way to help them out, we'll try. This is kind of only the beginning. Even after any ceasefire, it will continue to be a very bad situation. So yeah. So I've already have my color palette here, and trying to get all the base colors. I should name this layer hair front, because I'll have to add some in the back as well. You have links in the video description of the volunteers, and you can purchase supplies and send them directly to them, or you can donate to the coffee I set up, and I can purchase them and send them to him. We will go again next week to drop off stuff. I will cut this part here and put it above, because I want the hand to be in front. So, skin color, hand. So drawing something fun, cat girls. I haven't drawn any in quite a while. I've been so busy with work, doing video game art, mostly pixel art. So that's how My days have gone. Maybe I should make this background blue. Probably stand out more the hair. Make a little bow tie. And the bell. So I'm gonna look for some flowers online as reference. Flower crown. Wow, the Slavic and just Ukrainian flower scarves are really, flower crowns are really interesting. Not sure what all of these flowers are, but I'm trying to figure out. Kind of looks like a poppy. I kind of want one of these crowns. Really beautiful. But I'm gonna try something more like this one. I'm not sure if the flowers are real or fake. Kind of looks like a little sunflower. And the other one kind of looks like a poppy. Actually, I think maybe I should separate these flowers. I think it just make it easier for me later on if I paint them individually. I'll just name this blue flower. And the other one, yellow flower. White flower. So I'm gonna do a Viburnum because it is a symbol in Ukrainian culture, so that's what I'm hoping to do. So this is kind of how a Viburnum looks. And let me make another layer for the leaves. Yellow flower back. And a last blue flower in the back. And I'm gonna do now that light thing that doctors used to have. They no longer use this. I mean, while I was hospitalized anyway, they didn't have this on their head. They would take out a kind of a pen-shaped flashlight from their pocket, a very small one, to look at me. Name this yellow flower side. And now I'm gonna go and try and make the clothing, so I'm really not sure how you call the white thing that goes on top of the clothing. Doctors usually have it. Trying to remember how it's called in English. Really not remembering. Do you remember what it's called in English? Let me try Google Translate. Robe, I think. Yeah, robe. They do need those as well. They need stretchers. They need I'm so sorry. They need crutches. The whole list is linked down below. So ibuprofen, adrenaline, antibiotics. This is not something that you can personally buy in Romania. You have to be a doctor in order to do that. But other medicine you can find. Activated charcoal, metoclopramide, that is for nausea. Not just if you're pregnant, but usually that's why it's bought and used. I've had some health problems because my bile is not working great. So that's why I was recommended that, but it really doesn't do much for me personally. I just need to be on a diet. Nothing that tastes good. Like, I'm not allowed to eat anything yummy. Well, actually fatty or hard to digest. That's kind of my limitation. So gloves. And yeah, for supplies, gloves, masks. syringes, a lot of syringes they need. The exact diameter escapes me now, but it's all linked in the description below. Algocalmine, paracetamol, ibuprofen, antidiuretics, activated charcoal, Pranola, I don't know how to translate. Let me consult with Google Translate again. Cannula, and they also need catheters as well. This is still an issue. How should I organize these layers? Yep, this seems to be fine. Or maybe I should make the inside of the ear pink. Yeah, I guess it could work. And even lighter version of this. Hope it won't blend too much with the flower, like I'm hoping that won't be an issue. kind of went with that hair too much, so I'm gonna erase part of it. Gonna do eyebrows. And then, you know, the pupils. I think that's what the colored part is. Maybe iris. Kind of this olivey cat green. I'm so bad at noses and lips and I'm very doing this live. I generally prefer to only do coloring of the line art, and I do the line art offline simply because I'm so bad at this that I don't like to do it live. But I'm trying to make this live as long as possible because it takes a while for people to gather, so. And they say, you know, to do lives 4 hours. Like that's the recommendation. So just kind of hoping you're all doing okay. With this whole mess, I kind of phoned some elderly relatives, check how they're doing. So just actually this hair again, I went out of line. I want it with the eraser. There we go. What color makeup should I have for her? That's too much. Let's go with something more nude and modern. Yes, it's kind of the fashion at the moment. that's how it looks without the sketch. So now I'm going to use the mesh tool to and warp a bit here so it stays within those lines that I kind of decided in the beginning. Gonna go with an even darker line. Hey June, how's you been? It's going good. This is what I managed to get done in half an hour. I'm going 40 minutes. I'm getting rusty. I've been drawing pixel art all year. I haven't done much of the usual artsy art in a while, so I'm rusty. Also, my Clip Studio Paint still doesn't want to work well. I haven't been able to figure out what's wrong with it. How have you been, June? How's it going? Yep, you can hear me. Awesome. Oh, so crazy with what's going on. I'm happy that they've finally opened humanitarian corridors. That's so good. We have acquaintances, friends in Kiev and Kharkiv, and they haven't been able to leave. We've offered to have them stay with us, but they've not been able to leave the cities. You're lost in a very long commission. So sorry about that. I have a big project as well I have to finish. I have to draw a lot of underwater graphics for a water level in a video game, so I'm also gonna struggle with that now for a while. It's due like kind of at the end of the month, so hopefully it'll be okay. I'll deliver, they'll be happy. Oh, it's such a pain to draw noses. I'm so bad at drawing noses. I'd rather draw a cat nose, because I'll be better at that. I've always been terrible at drawing noses. Make me want to cry. Oh, so sorry about that. No, fortunately I haven't had any nightmares. It's pretty far away from us, so like we're relaxed. I mean, there have been some issues because of the power plants, the nuclear ones. So the town where I live, it's actually a science town here in Romania, and they have bunkers. So I've been told that they're starting to dust them off. I'm not sure if they were joking or if it's like a legit thing. So we made one of those little emergency packs, you know, where you put all of your passport and things like that in a waterproof bag, and you have some socks and underwear in a baggie, you know, backpack that you can like easily put on and go anywhere. So we don't think anything terrible is gonna happen here, but our friends in Ukraine were like, oh, it's fine, and then it wasn't. So like now we're being overly cautious. The Polish have been better organized than us at this whole donation thing. So like we're catching up. Our government is not very well equipped. So a lot of people, you know, basic civilians have been organizing to kind of help with the workload. Yeah, I mean, if push comes to shove, we have relatives in Italy. My husband has a cousin, I have an uncle. We can go stay with them if needs be. We've lived in the US without any like paperwork issue. Like we have the papers for it. I mean, next year our passports are gonna expire and stuff like that. If needs be, we can go even further than Italy, but hopefully it won't be an issue. Like we're being trying to be optimistic about it. But yeah, so crazy. We've talked to the guys at the donation center, people. Actually, there were women there too. We talked to the people at the donation center, and they were saying that in 2 weeks it's gonna be even more flooded, because at the moment the more well-off people were able to flee, like the ones that can afford cars and gas and train tickets and things like that. So they were gonna get even more. We have 3 centers to get people in Tulcha, but the problem is that they've cut off Odessa. So Ukrainians can no longer access Romania for that path. So we're gonna see what they can do to reach us. They've made humanitarian corridors, the Red Cross, Germans, also German government, some organization from the German government is going in with a lot of buses, and they're like saying they'll evacuate 200,000 people. So that's pretty good. Ukraine has 44 million people, and there were some estimates that 5 million are gonna be displaced outside of Ukraine and millions inside. So any money that we can raise to send it their way, it's gonna be awesome to help out. As much as possible. Yeah, thank you for coming. It's a pretty difficult time for a lot of us. Like I've called up some elderly relatives just to check up on them, how they are, because of all of this. And of course they were very concerned as well. It's pretty unexpected. Like I know in the news the US government has been saying this for weeks. For most people, I think it was kind of expected. I don't know. Maybe they didn't, seeing the shock. Maybe it was only for some people. It was obvious what's gonna happen. can't say I was particularly aware. The whole thing in Ukraine has been going on since 2008, and so you kind of got used to it. Was in the back of the head, and I'm like, eh. I mean, even when we were in the US, we're like looking to see, because usually it's Crimea, some other town, I forgot the name. Maybe it was Mariupol, and then Odessa, and then Constanza. Like, that's always been the trajectory of the Russian army. So we're like looking at the map. Have they reached Odessa? They took Crimea. Oh no. And yeah, now they took Odessa. So we're hoping they won't go into Constanza. Constanza is in Romania. Both me and my husband have relatives over there, so we've been keeping in touch. To see how they're doing. Most of us thought he was bluffing or just take Donbass and go home, nothing like this. Yeah. I guess he he realized he's 70 years old and doesn't have much left, so he's like, now or never. I don't know. Like, COVID has not been great for most of us, but it seemed to have hit him in a special way. So yeah, anybody that can donate, links are in the description below. They do need medical supplies, they do need antibiotics, gloves, masks, aprons, stretchers. I'm already drawing on the wrong layer again. If they touch Romania, yeah, Romania is in NATO, so it's definitely going to be a bigger deal, because everybody's obligated to defend Romania. If they do, they would definitely want a chunk of Finland and Sweden, which are not in NATO. Actually, the either Prime Minister or President of Finland, I'm not sure what they have over there, has said that 70% of the population is in favor of joining NATO, or that was a poll, and but either way, he said that they're making plans to join NATO. They had been neutral up at this point, but now they want to join. So he really showed how much of a genius he was by threatening Finland, and Finland was just like, now we want to do it even more, and they're joining. So it's unfortunate for them. I also saw a lot of Russians leaving Russia, going to Finland. From what I understand, if you are part Finnish or have Finnish relatives, you can go to Finland and stay there for a while, more easily. Something like that. I'm not sure what their legislation is like. Because you do have things like that for Romania and Moldova. Like Moldova is not in NATO, Moldova is not in the European Union. They want to join now, both of those. They have been wanting to do that for a while. They are Romanians after all, just that the country got split in two by Russians. So maybe there's something similar for Finnish nationals and or relatives, ethnic Finnish in Russia. And there have been rumors in Russia that they're going to start doing conscription, so like recruiting men. So that's why a lot of them are like leaving. I don't know, I've personally never thought him to be smart because he was just making like really crude high school jokes with Merkel and doing a lot of stupid things like threatening countries. He's been joking about invading Romania for a long time, and it's just like, how's that smart? So to be a NATO member, you have certain obligations, like giving 2% of your GDP or national something something monies to NATO, or no, to the defense budget, sorry. So 2% of your money as a country, you have to give it to defense, and Romania was giving like less than 1% during Trump's administration, and then Trump came and said a bunch of dumb things, and then our president went over to Washington, talked with Trump, and then went on TV and said, we're gonna now dedicate 2% to military. We're gonna do our part. I think he just talked to Trump, realized we're in the toilet, and it was like, okay, time to buy that second plane. I think we now have 3 planes, warplanes. We used to have 4, but one recently fell down, crashed and burned. So I think now we only have 3 or something, or 1. I don't even want to check. Our military is not doing great. I was surprised how well the Italian military is doing by comparison. I didn't know you guys were so active or concerned. You've definitely been taking this stuff more seriously than we have. And I mean, I'm not surprised, like Romania was doing fine, not being invaded. Our economy wasn't doing great, so military was like the least of everybody's concern until recently. But hopefully everything will end rather soon. It won't take another 8 years, I'm hoping. Ukraine has applied to join the European Union, which is nice. They have applied before. They were not admitted because they were not fulfilling the criteria. And then the government's changed, and it no longer wanted to join. Now they want to join again. Well, in Sardinia, those who want independence want the NATO military base out. Not sure what they're thinking now. Well, I think they still think, oh, you know, we're far away from Russia. Nothing's gonna happen until it happens. Because, for example, Lukashenko, the so-called president of Belarus, accidentally leaked some information about plans to invade Moldova. Moldova is not in the European Union. It is not in NATO. Again, it was kind of a puppeted state to a certain extent. And it's between Romania and Ukraine because it used to be part of Romania. And now they've managed to elect a democratic pro-European president. It's a lady called Maya, I think. It might be Maya because it's her family name, and Maya is something like you maybe use in making bread. I'm not sure. It's not a very common Romanian name. Who knows, maybe it's not a Romanian name. Oh, there are a lot of Ukrainians and Russians now in Moldova, so hard to know exactly. And they have always been there, it's just there are even more of them now. And she has also started making the papers to apply to the European Union for realsies now. Like, they have been talking about it, expressing desire, but I don't think they have ever reactivated the request. Of course, neither Moldova nor Ukraine fulfill the criteria at the moment, but fortunately, like after rebuilding starts, they'll be able to achieve that and join. Serbia also wanted to join the European Union, but for various reasons has been unable to. Economic, humanitarian, because they're having some issues with Kosovo, if my understanding is correct. And their currency is still very weak, and so they cannot join, because it's not going to be a good thing for anybody if their economy isn't able to join. Romania still does not have the euro. We cannot handle having the euro. So we're still having the Romanian coins, lei, which means lion. I'm not sure where the names come from. The name comes the name comes from. But at this point, if Russia tried to invade another country, NATO or not, I think everybody will do something. I would like to think so. Technically, they've invaded Belarus. It's just that Belarus is in denial. Like, ooh, all of these troops here? Who, me? I'm not invaded. A lot of countries have deals with Russia. Like, Germany is very dependent on the gas. Romania is as well because of corruption. There's been very little will in the part of our politicians to not do business with them. Like in Romania, we have these even ridiculous situations where, like, we're exporting gas to Russia for Russia to sell back to us at a terrible price. And there's just our corruption issues, that we're doing very dumb deals with them. And you just read the news and you're like, this can't be real. Are we really doing this? And then you dig a little deeper and it's like, what the heck is going on? Us too, most of our gas is from Russia. I saw some news that the US coastline is investing a lot in air energy. I think it's called wind energy, something like that. And also, more countries are looking toward nuclear power because, for example, Sri Lanka is out of electricity because they have no more water in their dams. They are lacking other sources of electricity. They don't have enough oil and things like that. Has a villa. Well, I don't blame him. Sardinia is beautiful. Quite beautiful. I find it hilarious, like all the people in taking their yachts. It is just hilarious what's going on. Some people have tried to sunk them, civilians. It's no longer just a government thing. Is that spam? It's like a weird link to be posting. Bon appetit, June. Maybe I'll make it like a darker blue gray. Trying to make this lapel, I think it's called, or collar. I'm not that familiar with medical clothing. Hope I got it right. Last time I was in a hospital, it was quite a long time ago, and they were still using these. Some hospitals, I understand, have these color-coded clothing, so you know, when you see someone on the hallway, you know what they are, and you can ask them to do this or that. I don't know, if it's a big hospital, maybe you don't know everybody. Plus, if you're new, it takes a while to get used to it. In Romania, anyway, like one doctor will work at several hospitals, and I'm not sure why, and at clinics. In a way, I kind of like it. Like, you'll have one doctor on a Tuesday and one doctor on a Wednesday, and so on. I mean, it's annoying if you need to go to that doctor the next day. You have to kind of wait maybe 2 or 3 days before you can go to them. is this stuff even on which layer? Oh, it's on sketch layer. So I do have auto select on turned on. So just when I click on a pixel, it automatically selects that layer. It's kind of hard to draw without line art, but I'm trying to learn how to do that better. Let's see, so I'm gonna reset tool hardness to 100 and just do some light line art. And back to my blending brush. Welcome back. I'm trying to make a round bell. I've been eating a lot of pasta this year. Been lazy. I don't even know what to cook anymore. And pasta gets you fat, because of course it does. I don't know if you know, have the joke in Italian, but here we say anything that is good in life is illegal, immoral, or it makes you fat. Yeah. Um, because my dad has health problems due to high blood pressure, I've also gotten one of those things that, measures your blood pressure. And mine is pretty high. So I'm trying to do more exercises and make some efforts to lose weight, which is easier said than done now that I'm no longer in my 20s. It starts to get a bit difficult. Also, the travel restrictions because of the pandemic aren't great. Yeah, oops indeed. But at least we're getting better weather now, so it's like less horrible than depressing to go outside. It was very um, cloudy and muddy and just horrible for such a long time, and the days were dark and short, and um, we're starting to have brighter days, so that's nice. Trying to go out more. Last autumn, I went with my bicycle just around the village and gathered as many seeds as I could. Flower seeds, and this spring I've just been dispersing them. They are wild flower seeds just found around the area. Like poppies. Poppies are indigenous here. And I've been spreading the seeds of the like really sad, pathetic little poppies that we have. I didn't get any specialty wild seeds, because I don't know how indigenous they are, and I don't know how it affects the local fields. But it's like mostly ditches and just random village streets. I've kind of been dispersing them, so it's like not really wild nature anyway. And people have a bunch of seeds there anyway. Flowers. Mostly I've gone to like dumps. So we do have a lot of fields that are just abandoned and basically trash heaps. That weeds and dirt have grown on top of. So nobody's gonna be upset with me that I planted flowers there. There was some areas where the mayorship had planned to put lawn, but they just never did. They just abandoned it. So like half of the building complex has lawns and the other half doesn't, and it's just a ditch full of rocks and a bit of dirt. And weeds have already started growing there 2 years ago. And I've just been looking and waiting for them to plant lawn so that I wouldn't interfere with it, but it seems like they're not going to. So I went ahead and put some flower seeds this year, so at least they can hide somewhat the trash that they left behind. And it's kind of annoying for me because I would love to have a garden and I just don't, and so I can't really plant anything on somebody else's property. And it's just like, it's wasted. Can I have it, please? I would love to plant some fruit trees and things like that. A lot of people have planted fruit trees and things like that in communal gardens anyway. So you can't just really go and do anything. It's pretty complicated talking to the administration, doing anything. It just takes forever. Or they just say no. So at the apartment complex where I used to live when I was in college, I asked the administrator if I can have access to the roof and make a little garden there. And he was like, "What? No." And like the roof isn't made for holding anything heavy. It has no safety railing, so I could just fall off the building, I guess, and hit somebody. But, it's still unfortunate because the city can be so claustrophobic and devoid of any kind of, how should I say, color, life. So I would have really loved to be able to put some plants on the roof, have a little garden. Maybe someday I'll have a piece of land that I can do whatever I want on. And just fill it with flowers and fruits and vegetables. I'm really tempted to grow some tomatoes outside in a pot this year. I don't know. We have a lot of stray dogs and cats, so I would probably have to put it in some big pots on a table somehow, which was gonna be very weird. I don't really have any space for it. And also hope that none of my neighbors leave their cigarette butts in my pots, so it's kind of complicated. But I think most of you will agree that you really can't compare summer outside grown tomatoes to what you can find off season in the shop. And I'm always happy to like go and buy tomatoes during the season because they taste so good. So that's kind of one of my favorite things about summer. I'm not that big a fan of summer. I prefer autumn and spring just because of the temperatures, but the tomatoes, sun-ripened tomatoes in summer, it's gonna be so nice. Hope I'm doing this poppy right. Daisies are definitely some of the easier ones to draw. Daisies, sunflowers, definitely an easier structure. When it starts getting complicated, when they stop looking that's good. Still trying to learn the shape of a petal, how it curls, and it's a pretty complex shape. I'm not that great at it, so giving my best here. Don't have any botanist in my live stream, fortunately, to see the mess that I'm making. Sure, not me, yeah. I've been doing acrylic painting when I got some spare time this December for the holidays. It's starting to, my roses are starting to look like less of a blobby mess. I mean, if you look from afar and you squint real hard, they're pretty. Oh, talk about pretty. Have you seen the HBO series Gilded Age? Isn't that show just gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't checked it out, I know you're on Netflix mostly. This one's on HBO. What is really beautiful is to see at least the trailer. Let me type it for you. Gilded Age. So gilded in English means it's covered in gold. So let's say you have a painting frame that is golden, you would say it's gilded. You have like a layer of gold on it. Statues usually would be gilded. And it's a time in US history. It was after the Civil War, and it was a period of Reconstruction. So you had the Civil War, you had the period called Reconstruction, and yeah, sometimes Netflix buys HBO series, and it was very rich for some people. For example, you had even rich African Americans, so they had been released from bondage. They were slaves previously, and they became pharmacists, doctors, and other things like that. So, business owners, and they built all of those pretty houses in Brooklyn that have been in all of those gentrification scandals. Um, those were built by the wealthy black elite of that time for themselves to live in them. So, very interesting period in history. And the script and directing and things like that are I forget his first name. Julian Fellows, and he's the guy that did Downton Abbey. So this is Downton Abbey American edition, and it's quite interesting. It's about the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers, kind of that age. It's around the time they're building the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, so that era. It's, I think, post-Victorian era. Not sure exactly how it's called. In Britain, I mean, because the Gilded Age is the American name for it. I'm not sure what it was called in Europe. You found it? Awesome. Six episodes so far, yeah. It's gonna be 10 episodes, I think. And if it goes like the way of Downton Abbey, then you're gonna have like 8 seasons or whatever. Yes. Yes, that's the name of the era. It's a legit history thingy mo. Mm-hmm. 1870, 900. When was the Civil War in the US? Let me see. Oh, quite recently to our era. I can see now why the characters were talking about it so much. It's like something that happened in their youth. Because you do have like older characters. So I'm drawing a Viburnum over here. It is a Symbolic flower for the Ukrainian culture. I actually found this really nice song that Kifness was promoting. If you remember him, he's the guy that did that song with the doggo. Oh, oops, sorry. I don't want to put the music on. I don't want to get copyright strike. But here's the song. And it's sung by a Ukrainian musician, and he has an awesome voice. Sadly, none of his songs have any subtitles. I went to his YouTube channel and I was like looking and couldn't understand the thing. Mhm. Mhm. I love that HBO is doing now podcasts for its shows. They did for Chernobyl, um, and now they're doing for the Gilded Age, and it's really neat because there's so much history stuff going on, and I often have like questions about what I see in the TV show. And there's also like an unofficial podcast for the Gilded Age because they filmed a lot of the loc areas sets in actual historical buildings. And so the caretakers of those buildings have actually started their own podcast. And it's really interesting because they're talking about how respectful and nice HBO has been about all of the buildings. Because they didn't touch any of the stuff. They allowed the curators to move any furniture if necessary and things like that. Which I think is very good that they talk together. And collaborated well. It was funny, one of the ladies that's a creator of one of those house museum estates, she saw one of the scenes in the show where there's like this huge, gorgeous fireplace, and she was like, "Wait, is that in our house? No, it's not. Where is it?" And it was CGI. And I have to say that that fireplace caught my eye as well because it was just amazing, really. And of course, I'm a sucker for historical costumes. Mostly viewing it with a different eye now that I've made Neil's Fineman's time traveling adventures. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. So I'm gonna have to end the stream here because I'm pretty tired. But I will continue this at my next live stream. So next one is going to be Tuesday between 3 and 5. If I can do that one, that would be great. If not, I'll do again a Saturday from 8 to 10. I will announce on my social media when I'll be able to stream. And yeah, please donate to the medical aid for Ukraine. There are many charities to go with. The one that I've personally decided to go with is some locals from my area. Because I know them, and they're going directly to wherever is needed. They're like quicker, flexible, and they do not accept money. That you just give them the products, or you can buy them and ask the delivery to send them to their office. So it's not like I'm putting money somewhere and hopefully they do something with it. Because I am in Romania, so a lot of charities are kind of sketchy like that, and I'm very apprehensive because of the situation I live in. But these people, like, they take the products and they take it to the border and actually reaches someone. So that's why I've decided to go with them. I totally recommend it. Links again in the description below. And yeah. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and see you in the next one. Bye bye everyone.